Hello, this is Coach Anderson. Welcome to Tidwell Tennis Spring of 2023. The season is right around the corner, and I have made some changes to how we're going to do practices. Number one change is I'm moving practice from morning till afternoon. It's really cold in the morning, it's pretty dark in the morning. So by having practice in the afternoon, hopefully that'll give us the opportunity to not miss nearly as many practices as we had before. Now, our schedule that you see here, it starts basically tomorrow. But I am doubtful that we'll have practice in the afternoon on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, given the weather. But I'm going to leave the practices like they are and let everybody know as we go. But the way this schedule works, the blue, of course, is boys. So I'm Monday and Wednesday of this week. And wherever you see blue, that's when boys will practice from 4:15 to 5:45. And where you see the pink outline, of course, that's for the girls, and that's 4:15 to 5:45. And then on Fridays, I have what's called the Players Squad. So that would basically be the boys and girls that are members of the Players Squad. They would come to practice on any day that it's in green. Most of those days are on Friday. And then there's also some of the dates that are in red outline. And those, of course, are our match days. We will not have the early morning match players practice that we used to have. We'll just have a normal morning on match day. And then, of course, we'll go to the match. And we'll have focused on match play, usually the Friday prior to the match. So this is our February schedule. There's no school on the 20th, so there's no practice on this date. And this is March. Of course, this is spring break. So this schedule here is available. I've sent it to you on the link, and you can check this out and refer to it. Are there going to be changes to it? Yes. There's changes that come without anybody's prior knowledge, not even my own, sometimes until the day of. I'll communicate any changes on Parent Square and email as well as soon as I find out about them or I make a determination of them. Very often for weather-related changes, especially for going to the match, those decisions are often not made until very close to when we leave because we want to give the most opportunity to play. So, for example, for this week coming up, I've already called Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're not going to have practice. In fact, we're going to do off-season workouts during class, during school, because of the weather. Thursday's supposed to be rainy, but I'm going to wait. Make sure that it is going to be rainy before I call either the after-school practice or the school practice. I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to get out to the courts if we can. Now, this is a practice schedule. One of the changes that I've made as well is I have now what's called a players squad, and this is really important that all the players understand what this means. So the way this player squad works, all of the 7th and 8th grade students that are on my roster who come to the courts during 1st and 8th period, they're in the tennis class. So that's all the kids, all the 8th graders during 1st period, all the 7th graders during 8th period. They're all in tennis class. Among the students in the tennis class are some boys and girls who have a somewhat reliable serve and who can hit a forehand and a backhand with some degree of consistency. These are the students that'll be on the player squad. So students that don't have a reliable serve and really can't hit a forehand or a backhand with any consistency, they're in class. They come 1st period and 8th period. They play tennis as well as they can, but they're not on the player squad. Those students, the ones that don't have a good serve and don't have a good backhand or forehand, they won't come to after-school practice. After-school practice is going to be for the kids that are on the players squad. Now, the kids that are on the player squad, it's not quite all the students, and they're going to come to practice. Some of those kids will be on the match team. The player squad kids are the kids that are going to compete for a spot on the match team each week. The match team is the best 7 boys, the best 7 girls, plus a few additional players depending on the size of our opponent. Those are the ones that are actually going to go to the match. Now, the size of the match team varies each week depending on how many players the opponent is going to bring. Some opponents don't even have enough for 7 boys and 7 girls, so I'll bring 5 boys and 3 girls, whatever the opponent has. Some teams have a lot of players, so I might even bring 10, 12 boys or 10 or 12 girls. It really depends. But the match team are the best players on the player squad. The player squad are the kids in tennis class who have some degree of skill. Now, all students, regardless of where they start out, have an opportunity, have an ability to move into the player squad, and and move possibly under the match team as well. So even if you're not on the player squad yet, if you're just in class and you're like, I want to be on the player squad, dress out for tennis every day, work really hard, build on your skills, concentrate, ask me for tips. I'll show you how to do some things and do those things, and then you'll move right up into the player squad. So any questions, of course, send me an email. Let me know. Kids, you can just talk to me during the day. And then any questions you have, let me know. And let's make this a really, really fun and productive spring. Have a good afternoon.